If you or a family member have been hurt because of the careless actions of another person, call Walker Texas Lawyer. They'll work to get you the financial compensation and justice you deserve. They have 40 years of experience, and you don't pay unless you win. Call 713-881-9653 today for a consultation or go to walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lucky to talk to me, funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
It's not every day you get to be in the presence of hip-hop royalty, but Grammy-nominated rapper joins us this morning, the host of My True Crime Story, new episodes Tuesday on VH1, Season 2. Remy Ma is in the building. Remy, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? See, I agree with you. They should have just gave me the Grammy Award.
They should have. Look, here's the thing. I'll talk to you about it later because I'm a hip-hop head, and there's a lot about Remy Ma that I would love to talk to you about. But let me start here, though. This show literally is something that I absolutely love. This has me written all over it. I was watching, what's going to be coming up, with Miss Balenciaga and her story, and this true crime that you've hit on is just so awesome. For people who don't know, who haven't seen the show yet, I know you're in your second season. Give them just a brief rundown of what the show is about.
Okay, so what the show does is it gives you a first-person view, a first-person account of the crime that was committed, what was their thought process, what drove them to even get into a life of crime, how much money they made or didn't make, how many times they escaped the law or got caught, and where they are now, more importantly, where they are now. Because I think so many of the other true crime stories shows, they just tell you this is the person, this is what they did, and they're a bad person, where that's not necessarily always the case. A lot of times people, they come from a decent background, or they come from a story that, when you start watching, you're like, okay, I can see how this transpired. And then to see after all they've been through, this life of crime, whether it's stealing, drugs, robberies, whatever it is, and then they do prison time or federal time, and they come home, and what are they doing now? Where is their children now? What is their life like now? How are they making money now? How are they living through life? And you'll be surprised to see that a lot of these people have literally turned it 180 from where they started at to where they are now. And I personally empathize with it, because I feel like some of them, when you hear these stories and the way they were able to manipulate numbers in the system, they are like geniuses. Like, how did you even come up with that? Like, if they were put in the correct setting, they would be like at the top of like a Fortune 500 company. So, that's the difference between My True Crime Story and everyone else. We hear from the first person account, and we hear where they started from and where they're at now.
Well, like redemption, right? And I feel like that's a big thing in all true crime stories. You're right. We hear at the end, they did this and they're in jail still, and nothing ever great happened. I mean, I work with a guy, Booker T, who was a pro wrestler, but he had a book called From Prison to Promise. A lot of robberies early on in life. Did time, got out, became a multimillionaire wrestler, right? We want to hear these stories from people. And I think that's what My True Crime Story does. Now, what attracted you to this? Was it the redemption angle? Like, why did you want to, associate Remy Ma with this show?
Absolutely. Like, I feel like a part of that is my story. I've been through things in life. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up like, just being this perfect angel. And then sometimes things happen to you in life and people try to make that who you are. And that's not necessarily the case. You do get a second chance, or you do get a opportunity to live your life the way that you feel you should have always lived your life, or just you wake up one day and things are different. You're not the same person that you are at 18 or at 25 or at 30 or 35. And I feel like in society we have this preconceived notion that if you did something, I don't care if you were 16, 17, 18, that's who you are. No, that's not necessarily true. Like, and it takes you to go through life to see that. And I've been there where people were judging me and pointing fingers at me and thinking they knew who I was, not knowing what I've been through, not even knowing the real story because I never told my story. So to be able to give other people opportunity to tell their story and show where they came from and where they're at now, I was all on board. Like, let's do it. Let's go.
Well, my true crime story Tuesdays on VH1. I only have a little bit of time with you left, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this, because when you go back to some of your albums from the early 2000s and on, especially There's Something About Remy, I hear it still today. I hear the influence from albums such as that one. Not in just female MCs, and all MCs today. The sounds, the sonics, the flows, the rhyme patterns, the topics that were covered, but especially in a lot of last couple of years, there's been a renaissance, I think, of female MCs in the game. We talk about Houston's own Megan Thee Stallion, Saweetie, Doja Cat, Ice Spice, and they all have a little. I don't know if you agree with it or not, but they all have a little bit of Remy in there, just a little bit. Do you feel your influence? Do you feel your influence?
I feel like when I came home, it was my mission to make sure that we get to see more females. And I did a big show on Summer Jam in New York City, and I brought out women from Little Kim, the MC, like Queen Latifah, Cardi B, who didn't even have Bodak Yellow at the time, Young and May, and Yo Yo, Moni Love. We all on the same stage, just to show that women can be on the same stage and be okay and unite and make money and be all stars. And just to see that continuing so many years later, it's great. Just recently, I just did a song with Connie Diamond, a young up and coming rapper from the Bronx, Ghetto and Ratchet, that's going viral right now. So, anything that I can do to help push the culture forward, and particularly women in the culture, I'm all for it.
Well, you've done it, and you continue to do it, and I just am so happy I got to spend a little time with Remy Ma. This is incredible. Remy Ma, my true crime story on VH1. Thank you so much for taking time, Remy.